You might have heard about the deers in Nara Park and Miyajima, but did you know that there's an amazing place where you can meet hundreds of cute rabbits in Hiroshima? Konnichiwa, and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. August 6th is the day the atomic bomb was dropped in Hiroshima in 1945 during World War II. I believe many of you know about this historical event. However, I always feel a little sad when every time I tell someone I grew up in Hiroshima, they would look at me with a sad face and say, "I'm sorry for what happened." Hiroshima is responsible for remembering and carrying on the tragic memories and damages of the A-bomb. But that is only one side of Hiroshima. So today, as a man who grew up in Hiroshima, I would like to introduce 5 unique local things that you can enjoy when you travel to my hometown. The 5 things I'll be introducing do not include the places related to the A-bomb on purpose, so you can get to know a different side of Hiroshima. I will also be counting down the 5 things by my personal recommendation, so I hope you can enjoy this video till the end. This video will definitely make you add Hiroshima to one of your destinations upon traveling to Japan. And for those of you who are already planning to come, you will be able to fully enjoy the journey. And even if you get confused somewhere during the middle, that's okay. I will wrap everything up again at the end of the video in today's conclusion. それでは本日は広島へ参りましょう。1. Eating Hiroshima's local cuisine. I know everyone, topics about food are what you've been waiting for, right? Hiroshima, of course, has delicious local cuisine. That is something you can absolutely not miss when you visit. If I introduce everything, there'll be a little bit too much. So here I've picked up the 3 that are especially famous among Japanese people too. 1. Okonomiyaki. 2. Kaki, oysters. 3. Momiji manju. 1. Okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki. If you are a fan of Japanese food, I'm sure you've heard of okonomiyaki before. But did you know that there are actually 2 different kinds? One is the Kansai-fu Kansai style that was born in Osaka, and the Hiroshima-fu Hiroshima style that was born in Hiroshima. Although they are both okonomiyaki, the way they are made are completely different. It is believed that the origin of okonomiyaki can be traced back to the rice crackers that Confucius ate in 500 BC. But the kind that we know of today was born in the 20th century in Tokyo. Kansai-fu is made by mixing the batter and ingredients together and cooking it flat on an iron plate. Hiroshima-fu, on the other hand, is made by spreading the batter thinly on the iron plate, putting cut cabbage and pork strips on the batter, and turning it over. Also, Hiroshima-fu commonly puts in a layer of yakisoba noodles and a cooked egg in it too. By the way, if you are not a fan of soba like I am, I recommend you ask for udon noodles instead, which is more chewy and much more delicious, in my opinion. There are tons of okonomiyaki restaurants in Hiroshima, and you might have a hard time deciding which one to go to. In that case, please choose my favorite, Okonomimura, the village of okonomiyaki. It's a building that has multiple okonomiyaki restaurants in it, and there you can try out different kinds of okonomiyaki in one area without moving so much. I have the link to the building in the description box, so I hope you can take a look. 2. Kaki, oysters. The southern part of Hiroshima faces the Seto Inland Sea, so it has a rich culture of seafood. What's especially famous in Hiroshima are the oysters. They are served in many places in Hiroshima, and you can enjoy them in different forms, such as raw, cooked, and deep fried. It is one of the things that I look forward to eating every time I go back to Hiroshima. It's very difficult to explain how oysters taste to those who have never tried them out, but they are called the ocean milk and are very creamy and healthy. It's like escargots, but without the butter and garlic. The seafoodness and creaminess tripled and a hint of bitterness. However, please keep in mind that they are famous for giving you food poisoning when you accidentally eat bad oysters. If you're afraid of getting a stomachache, it's best you avoid the raw ones and try the cooked ones. I'm very curious though how common they are around the world. It would be great if you can let me know in the comments. 3. Momiji manju. After having a full meal, it's time for you to have desserts. Manju is a Japanese traditional confectionery, which is steamed buns with red bean paste inside. Momiji means maples, so these are manufactured in the shape of maple leaves. There are many theories about how the Momiji manju was created, but it is mainly believed that in 1906, a confectionery craftsman who was making tea sweets for a ryokan hotel located within the famous Maple Park in Miyajima invented it. The ryokan asked him to make a sweet that represents maple leaves, and the Momiji manju was what he came up with. This means that the Momiji manju has a history of over 100 years, and is surely a very important traditional culture that represents Hiroshima. Unfortunately, Shogo, not a big fan of red bean paste. Too bad. Don't worry. Today, there are actually many different fillings, like cream cheese, chocolate cream, and matcha cream. They are very popular as souvenirs, so you can add it to the list of things to take home back to your country. 2. Visiting Nagarekawa. This street that I want to introduce to you might be a place that is very different from your image of Hiroshima. It is actually the biggest entertainment district in the Chugoku and Shikoku regions. There are more than 3,000 restaurants, izakaya, and bars in this small district. And the view of the street is stunning, with the buildings that are 7 and 8 stories high, and each floor having multiple bars in them. And what's best is that it's walking distance from the other major spots that you can visit, like the Peace Park and the A-Bomb Dome. You didn't imagine going to the Peace City and ending up drunk, right? I know many of you don't drink alcohol or not interested in any night entertainment, but I still believe that it's a fun experience to walk through the street to see a different side of Hiroshima. 3. Watch Hiroshima Kagura. Kagura is Japan's ancient Shinto ritual that is originally meant to entertain and worship the gods, and it used to be performed everywhere in Japan. It is also the origin of all the Matsuri festivals that take place today. The first Kagura performance is believed to have been done by the gods themselves, and it is recorded in the ancient story Kojiki, a myth about the origins of Japan. Hiroshima Kagura today is a mixture of Kagura culture in many different regions, and it has inherited the ancient culture that is becoming lost in most places. As you can see in these pictures, the performance is actually quite flashy, with instruments like flutes and drums, and the dancers wearing colorful costumes and big masks. I think that it's very interesting that a city that most people imagine of as the tragedy of the 20th century actually carries on one of the oldest forms of culture in Japan. By the way, if you heard Kagura and immediately thought of this girl, you are already my best friend, so please give me a DM about your favorite scene. There are more than 20 Kagura groups that are active within Hiroshima City, and shows are played in many places every day. So I'm very sure you'll be able to see one of them too. If you'd like to learn more, I have a link inside the description box. They explain in their websites that they used to welcome many foreign travelers as guests for the show too. So there is nothing you have to worry about. 4. Visiting Okuno-shima Rabbit Island. You might have heard about the deers in Nara Park and Miyajima, but did you know that there's an amazing place where you can meet hundreds of cute rabbits in Hiroshima? Okuno-shima is a famous island in Hiroshima known as the Rabbit Island, which has more than 500 wild rabbits living there. The moment you get off the ferry and set foot on this land, you will have the adorable rabbits coming up to you, sniffing their tiny noses at your feet and looking at you with their big round eyes. The fun part about this island is that you are free to feed the wild rabbits there, and there's food sold at the shops near the port. If you ever have a chance to go, don't miss out on the hotel with onsen, local food, campsites, and beaches in summer too. However, you might be wondering, why are there so many rabbits on this island in the first place? In order to answer this question, we need to take a look at the dark history of this island. Okuno-shima originally owned poisonous gas factories during the war eras of the 20th century, and rabbits were used as their experimental animals. The descendants of the rabbits that were being experimented do not live on this island anymore. But after the safety of this island was confirmed and the island was developed as a vacation site, they released rabbits to freely live on this island in order to never forget the tragic past. By the way, there's also a museum about the poison gas factories on the island, which displays materials related to poisonous gas to pass on the message that this history must never be repeated. 5. Visiting Miyajima. I think you're already packing your suitcase and getting ready to head to Hiroshima. But before you do, please listen to my last recommendation too. Visiting Miyajima is a must when you visit Hiroshima. From the shape of the island, high mountains, and dark forests, Miyajima is an island that has been a subject of nature worship. It has been deeply linked to many of the important events and people of Japanese history. These are just some of the exciting things that you can do at Miyajima. 1. Meeting the cute deers that roam the island. 2. Visiting Okuno-shima Jinja, the maritime shrine. 3. Overlook the Seto Inland Sea from the peak of Misen Mountain. 4. Eating the delicious cuisines at the shopping streets. 1. Meeting the cute deers that roam the island. The cute deer will welcome you the moment you arrive in Miyajima. At first, you might be a little surprised by how friendly they are and how close they come up to you. But once you get used to them, they're very adorable. The ancestors of the deer alive today are believed to have swam this island in ancient times and have been protected by the people as sacred animals because deers are believed to be messengers of God in Shintoism. This is how they continued to grow in number, and there are a few hundred deers living on this island today. However, one thing that we must be careful of is that unlike the rabbits on Okuno-shima and the deers in Nara Park, we are not allowed to feed the deer in Miyajima. 2. Visiting the Okuno-shima Jinja, the maritime shrine. Hiroshima has 2 famous World Heritage Sites. One is the A-bomb dome, and the other is the Okuno-shima Jinja in Miyajima. This shrine was built in 593 to worship the sacred island. And in 1168, the famous Taira no Kiyomori built the buildings and hallways. What's amazing about this shrine is not only its long history, but the fact that it is built on the ocean. And depending on the ebb and flow of the tide, the scenery will completely change. The low tide and high tide repeat every 6 hours. And when it's low, you're allowed to walk to the gates and see. The beautiful scenery of Okuno-shima Jinja is considered one of the most famous scenic places in Japan, so it will be a view that you will never forget. But why is this shrine built over the ocean? This is because, again, this whole island is worshipped as a god, and it was forbidden to cut the trees or to excavate the soil of the island. 3. Overlook the Seto Inland Sea from the peak of Misen Mountain. Miyajima has a very beautiful and tall mountain called Misen. And from its peak, you can see the gorgeous scenery of the whole island and the Seto Inland Sea. Until about the middle of the mountain, you can take the ropeway. And from the station, you need to walk up another 30 minutes. You can enjoy a pleasant mountain climb while enjoying the view of the surrounding islands and the city of Hiroshima. However, it's not an easy way to the top, so it's best that you wear comfortable clothes and shoes for the climb. 4. Eating the delicious cuisines at the shopping streets. Now that you've seen the beautiful shrines and temples of Miyajima and got some good exercise going up the mountains, it's time for you to get some good food. The Miyajima shopping street is the perfect place to enjoy all of the delicious dishes and sweets I introduced in the first chapter. What's great is that all of the restaurants are in one area, so you don't have to go everywhere to find everything, and that you can even eat the freshly baked momiji manju. By the way, if you walk the street, you will find that many of the souvenir shops are selling these shamoji, which are originally for scooping rice from pots and rice cookers. But this is like a tourist spot selling spatulas as souvenirs. Seems a bit weird, doesn't it? The culture of making and selling shamoji started during the Edo period, when Miyajima was trying to establish its main industry. A famous Buddhist monk suggested that Miyajima produces the shamoji that has a similar shape to the instrument, biwa, that the goddess of the island plays. Eventually, people started to believe that eating the rice scooped with this shamoji will bring good luck. And today, there are decorative amulets to wish for victory and prosperous business. If you're interested, I think that buying one as a souvenir would be a great idea. So, these are the 4 things I recommend the most in Miyajima. But there is also a ferry that goes around the whole island. The Autumn Leaves Park, the Miyajima Aquarium, and traditional ryokan you can stay at. Please check out all the information you need to plan your trip through the link inside the description box. Then lastly, today's conclusion. I introduced 5 things to do in Hiroshima that are not related to the A-Bahn. 1. Eating Hiroshima local cuisine. Hiroshima has its delicious and unique local cuisines, and I especially recommend you try the okonomiyaki, oysters, and momiji manju. 2. Visiting Nagarekawa. Nagarekawa is the biggest entertainment street in Chugoku and Shikoku regions. I hope you can check out the 3,000 restaurants, izakaya, and bars that are gathered in one area. 3. Watch Hiroshima Kagura. Kagura is the Shinto ritual meant to entertain and worship the gods. And Hiroshima Kagura is a mixture of the multiple Kagura culture that once existed in various places in Japan. 4. Visiting Okuno-shima, the rabbit island. The island has more than 500 wild rabbits roaming the area. Enjoy your experience even more by preparing the rabbits some food and visiting the campsites and beaches. 5. Visiting Miyajima. Miyajima is one of the 2 World Heritage Sites in Hiroshima that has been worshipped as a god for thousands of years. There are mainly 4 things that I especially recommend doing on this island. 1. Meeting the cute deers that roam the island. 2. Visiting Okuno-shima Jinja, the maritime shrine. 3. Overlook the Seto Inland Sea from the peak of Misen Mountain. 4. Eating the delicious cuisines at the shopping streets. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you thought, well, originally I didn't have any plans to go to Hiroshima, but Shogo, you've got me interested. Please hit the like button to help me boost this video to more people. And my goal is to achieve 1 million subscribers by January 2023, so your help is what I need. In this channel, you can take a closer look at Japanese traditional culture, tips on traveling to Kyoto, and social problems in Japan. To learners and lovers of Japanese language and culture, be sure to subscribe to enjoy more content. And please check out our sub-channel and membership through the link inside the description box. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. どうもありがとうございました。